Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us here at the Smite Pro League. My name's Tom, that's Toli, and this is Europe. We've got a fantastic selection of games for you this afternoon as we enter our 5th week of competition.
A lot of action here in the Smite Pro League, and I'm really excited for this first set in particular.
Yeah, we're going to watch Team Dignitas take on Team Rival, a rematch from our 2nd week. And as we take a look at where these teams have come from, it's going to be really, really interesting to watch them battle it out. And of course, we're watching it on Mixer. Our Mixer exclusive here at the Smite Pro League. Fantastic stuff. Most importantly, you're going to be able to ride along with 2 of our players.
That's right. It's going to be Deathwalker, the soul laner from Rival, against QvoFred, jungler out of Dignitas.
These guys have come up and it looked so strong. Deathwalker was one of the guys that put Rival on the map, if you ask me. And then across the way, QvoFred has just been one of the strongest junglers that we've seen in a long time. Now, of course, these players are playing for the pride and the trophy, but there's a little bit more to that. Each split is going to be about 6 weeks, and they play each other twice. We're in the latter half of that. Best of 3 matches. In today's Europe, we see us on Thursdays and Tuesdays.
And, you know, it's going to be Wednesdays and Fridays for North America. A lot has changed since Season 4. Not only just the format going from a 2-game set to a best of 3 format, but a lot of these teams definitely going through a lot of shifts. The way Dignitas ended Season 4 is a lot of a different story than how they started now in Season 5.
And as we watch these teams succeed and fail in some cases, this is what we're looking at. So some new stats coming at you right now. The plus and minus is how we're going to be able to compare international teams that don't necessarily play against each other. Now, it's not perfect, but basically what we're breaking down is the fact that games won versus games lost, not sets. So this will show the teams that have won in 2, the ones that have won the sets in 2 games instead of stretching it out to 3, their superiority.
That's right. Rival have a 13-3 record. That's why they're plus 10. Dignitas with a 9-5 game record. That's why they're only plus 4.
And so as we watch these teams sort of battle it out, we're going to see this. And we're only going to use this for international seeding. When it comes to tiebreakers and anything else, and when it comes to competition, it's a whole different canary. But right now, that's really just what we're looking at when the teams make it to LAN, which is still the same old format. When they have to come back and make the bracket, everything will be seeded that way. Now, you want to root for your favorite team to wind up on the top with that 10+, so you're going to root along home, both in spirit and in practice. Pick up yourself a Smite team badge.
Honestly, I don't even know who to choose from this set because I have both of the badges. I have Rival and Dignitas, so who do I even root for?
Well, certainly a tough task. Here, don't forget, the badges are just a part of that season ticket. So you can buy into the badges individually, or you can buy the entire season ticket here. 25% off, just 300 gems here. And this is what opens you up to allowing you to take part in the predictions and everything else. I know my prediction video didn't come out today like it has for the past couple of weeks, yesterday. It'll be out today, so you'll be able to cheat on those picks.
And so far, looking at the international standings, shifting into the European side of things, Rival at the top alongside Energy, Dignitas right behind them. Didn't have as many sets played quite yet as the other 2 teams, but keep in mind that those top 3 European teams have been trading games with the opposing. Rival's only loss was to Dignitas back in week 2.
Yeah, and we've sort of talked about the triangle of trouble that these top teams have really endured, watching them battle it in and out. And as I said, that battle continues this week for week number 5. So Tuesday and Thursday are our European days. So Rival and Dig and Obey Alliance versus Mouse is what we're going to see today. And then later on, we'll see Energy, SK, E United, Trifecta, and Space Station Gaming. Oh, I'm a little mixed up here. So basically what happens is the Tuesday and Wednesday, just pretend like those say Europe, and the Thursday and Friday, pretend like those say North America. We'll take a look at some of those matches a little bit later, but today's really the only one. I live my life day by day, don't you?
Yeah, I just like to go with the flow. That's what the universe tells me to do, and I'll just follow.
I mean, we all know how Zen-like and
that's very true.
About the Buddha nature you are.
That's right. I like to indulge in the finer things in life.
If you're missing this, first of all, you missed out yesterday. We debuted our esports weekly show yesterday morning, and it was a lot of fun. Toli actually has his own little segment.
That's right. Just a moment with Toli. We'll see more of that as the weeks come in esports weekly.
Yeah, I think I'm allowed to promise that every Monday or so. So keep your schedule open with that one. Europe has been a lot of fun to watch thus far, and looking at what Rival and Dignitas are doing here. What are you expecting out of this match?
I think that there's going to be a lot of contention over the jungle here between iceicebaby and QvoFred. They're very similar god pool. I think the synergy between these two teams are very similar, and it's really difficult to like pinpoint where the strengths, or more importantly, where the weaknesses are of how either one of them is going to exploit it.
For me, I love watching these two teams combat because I think they're a study in different approaches to the game. Both of them are top teams and both of them are extremely successful, but Rival, I think, focuses more on that team aspect, and the black and yellow team Dignitas focus more on Qvo's just going to beat you up now. Well, our variety's just going to beat you up now. That individual prowess. And like I said, I think watching, we've seen some teams be a little bit more successful. Rival are certainly more successful on the standings. This season, the purple has been tough to stop. The story with Rival is a team that started at the bottom and now they're here. The problem is, for the other teams, Rival isn't done climbing. They've consistently gotten better the entire time, and guess what? Last year, runner-up at Worlds. And you know what? They're still improving. This team is out of control. Expect them to be a contender the entire year.
Rival looking so strong here in the beginning of Season 5. It's so refreshing to see this team just look so dominant here, to see where they came from since Season 3 Cyclone GG days.
I mean, I was breaking it down, watching these guys perform how they have been. It's been kind of really funny because a lot of times this is where you expect a team to plateau. You're at the top. Stop improving. But Rival shut off the brakes. They're not interested in slowing down. They're not interested in turning anything off totally. They're very alive and they're ready to go. And if anything, this moment where they've reached the top has done nothing but entice them even more so to be that more exciting.
The cloud is not even their limits here. Deathwalker specifically out of this squad, very innovative with his picks and very aggressive when he needs to be. It's very difficult to read what he wants to do because he'll not only play those aggressive Kakullans, but he'll also play a very defensive Guardian whenever he's asked to, depending on his team's composition.
Right. We've seen players like him come and go. Well, I'm going to take that back, actually. I think we've seen players in the style that you just mentioned where he's willing to play whatever the team needs, but I think Deathwalker does that. He's the Swiss Army knife, as I like to call the solo laners, but he brings his own flair to it. You have to always be afraid of the Deathwalker effect. This is a guy that can single-handedly win you the game.
That's true, and you know, bringing out the Naja solo lane in the recent weeks, it's been really surprising to see. Deathwalker is just not done kind of stretching his imagination in the God's Pool.
Well, Deathwalker is going to have to use a lot of his imagination because, as I said, Team Dignitas, one of the stronger teams on the scene, they're in third place, but I don't think they're content. Dignitas are a team that has been criticized in the past for falling back to individual play. Well, I look at these guys and I say, who the hell cares? QvoFred's coming out punching people in the mouth. Zyrhoes is still doing his thing. Listen, Dignitas, they missed Worlds and I still don't care. This squad, really, really good.
Dignitas still the favors, honestly, to finish in that top 3 position. It just depends on how they can overcome some of the humps because their only 2 losses so far were to Energy.
Sure. And I think when you're kind of losing out to one of the top teams in the world here, Energy, who has gotten even better after swapping out their support, I don't really think that's anything to complain about. Now, most focal point of this team is absolutely the jungler, QvoFred. This is a jungler-driven league here in Season 5, and if I need a jungler that's not adapting, this is the guy who I'm looking for. And you know what, Tully? I might even take him over adapting, depending on the day.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you there. Both of those junglers looking very solid, and you can actually watch QvoFred in one of those co-streams up against Deathwalker on the other side of things. And those are your 2, honestly, matchups that you would probably lean on the solo lane here between the Deathwalker versus Variety. Who's going to make a bigger impact out of the jungle? Is it Ice or is it Qvo?
Yeah, and both of these players, don't make any mistakes here. iceicebaby is a fantastic jungler in his own right, but watching what his opponent has been able to do so far, QvoFred. I brought up the other day that QvoFred, at the beginning of last year, or when Dignitas got together, he said, look, I'm done with school. I've graduated, and now I can focus full-time in Smite. And you've played against him. You've watched him for years. This guy clearly improved when he was able to devote all his time over to Smite. That's when we said he could have been the best player in the world. And watching him continue here, totally Season 5, it's just a treat to watch this guy go to work.
And being surrounded by such talent from the rest of his squad definitely evolved evolved throughout the years. Not just himself as an individual, but the team around him. Both of these teams have such great synergy between Rival making content and Dignitas as well.
I mean, you can see Rival here banning out QvoFred's junglers of choice, Serket and Daji, two very aggressive mobile characters. So taking that away from the jungler, but still finding the mobility. Team Dignitas going for Janus in the middle lane. Love this pick for Zyrhoes just in general, because he's a character or he's a player that works very well on this god. But like I said, it's going to give the mobility into the jungle. Across the way, Rival selects Achilles and Terra.
Achilles hasn't really been flexed a lot in Europe quite yet. It's been definitely shown in the minor league, but in the pro league, teams are still a little hesitant here and there to show it more in the North American side of things thus far. But a lot of defensive options from Dignitas with the Sobek and Fafnir really waiting on those hyper carry picks.
I like the Fafnir selection. Anytime somebody selects Fafnir across from Rival, I'm always a fan. It's come to everybody's conclusion that Kalas is a Fafnir main. Okay. He'll play the dwarf any chance he gets. Now, it's not to say that he is poor on the other selections, but anytime you're able to take somebody's favorite choice away, it's worth.
It's true. And I like the idea here that Dignitas has to hold off to their jungle pick, because there's so many jungles in Season 5 that just work very well. And I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of leans on this Susanoo pick if it's open.
Certainly a good choice. We've seen that one do well, especially in the hands of QvoFred. On Batz, the team fight monster coming out for iceicebaby here as they finish their second rounds of bans, and Rival says goodbye to the Raven and the Kamazots. 2 more junglers. Every single Rival ban has been towards QvoFred. And I don't think that's a surprise.
They don't care. Dignitas absolutely don't care. They didn't even pick their jungler before the secondary ban phase.
Yep.
The homework done from Dignitas thus far has been solid, that they're expecting Rival to really take away some of those picks to allow them what they really want in those other positions.
Well, I think you nailed it when you said that the jungle pool, the god pool, is very large. Right now, I think almost every god is playable in Smite, and it's really about the what niche sort of strategy you want to take, how you want to play against the other players. And here, the last selection is going to be the jungler, and it's going to be the Ratatoskr. So the Ratatoskr is going to be able to be global, or semi-global at the very least, and follow up on that Hun Batz should Batz find the initiation.
I like this idea because I think that maybe QvoFred is going to allow Rival to play aggressive, and then he'll look for those counter engages.
Might be the case here. Thoth, 10th selection overall. Write that one down in your diary. You're not going to see that quite often. One of the more powerful characters here, saved to the last moment.
That's true. In Season 5 so far, we saw Thoth last pick, Daji, Nemesis. Like, there's always been one of these top priority picks that was always picked last. It's still kind of up in the air where the meta lies in Season 5.
The idea that it's pure power is certainly a little bit different. It seems to be about strategy. One word, who wins, Dig or Rival?
I like Dignitas' safe picks. Sobek, Fafnir, Dig.
Nobody ever just gives me one word. Give us many. It's the commentators. Graham, take us away.
Thanks a lot, Tom. And Tolly, yeah, me and Agro are going to be bringing you this set between Dignitas and Rival. Tolly's thinking Dig.
I can't blame him. I mean, Dignitas has been on a tear and historically has had Rival's number. And that's, I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday on Esports Weekly. It's kind of this top triangle where Energy, Dignitas, and Rival all trade games with one another but can never seem to beat the other team. Rival has got a really good draft here, though, if they want to have an opportunity to beat it up. I mean, Achilles, Terra, your first 2 picks. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's insane.
This is new Terra as well, to be clear.
Yes.
That's the big thing. Big thing for you guys at home. Who do you think will win this set? Vote in Mixer Chat now, and we'll find out once we're in the game. We'll be right or wrong.
Now, the pick that surprised me, nothing surprising about Achilles, Terra, top 2, but then Hun Batz right after that for Rival. I mean, Hun Batz is good, don't get me wrong, but hasn't really been a priority pick. But I think it's because of how many junglers Rival wanted to ban away. I mean, as they mentioned on the desk, all 4 bans were actually on the other side. So this is one of those situations where they wanted to make sure that it was going to go in favor of iceicebaby in the jungle.
Yeah, definitely a big old time in the jungle at the start of this one in terms of that. Let's see how this works out. Dignitas on the left-hand side of your scrane, Rival on the right. Variety playing that Sobek, which we've seen more and more of this season in the solo lane, one of the safest, easiest laners in the game, just because, you know, he can be bullied under his tower and still survive.
You know what? For my money, I think he's the strongest solo right now, and Achilles could give him a run for his money there, but the safety that he brings, he's not going to get soloed, he's not going to solo you, but he doesn't really care about that. He can kill you with the help from a jungler because of the repositioning from the charged prey, and then his teamfight disruption is second to none when it comes to the late game, man. Sobek, with hitting level 20 before you, having a bruiser type build, a void stone, something like that, it feels nearly impossible to handle him.
Well, the fans are going to go against what we've seen so far. Dignitas beat Rival, Rival beat Energy, Energy beat Dig. The fans at home, though, 63% believe in Rival here with the composition they've drafted. They did get a last pick Thoth and Terra and Achilles.
Yeah, can't really blame him. But check out where Trixtank is right now, hanging out around the mid lane. Now, Kalas, of course, going to block out the minion wave with the monolith, but this leaves Trix to kind of do what he wants to do in the mid.
Yeah, he's trying to keep the pressure on here. Obviously, Terra in the early game, though, aggro doesn't have the greatest clear of all time, so it's not a surprise to see him left on his own. 3 in mid for very, very fast wave player. Easy red invade this? The wave's dead.
Exactly. You get to go straight to red before Rival even get to hit their mid wave. But this is 3-way splitting. So this is, 3-way splitting wasn't really advantageous for you in previous years, but now with the XP changes that came into Season 5, you get so much less experience in gold than you would have previously. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of this 3-way split situation for Dig. I think I would prefer to see Trixtank just sit in lane, absorb that wave XP. And it's really not about Trixtank's farm, but it's about Arkkyl's farm and Zyrhoes' farm.
And QvoFred started his speed buff, went straight to the red buff, I believe, and dropped that. But Zyrhoes not going to pick that up. Instead, he's going to get mid-wave as well as getting help from QvoFred here. This is an adjustment from Dignitas here, trying to abuse the map and something that you're going to expect with people still getting used to it in Season 5.
Yeah, the more I think about it, even though it's not very advantageous for Arkkyl or Zyrhoes with Trixtank 3-way splitting that wave, what it really does is it puts Vote really far behind, because the idea of putting your Hunter in mid and then transitioning them over to the left is that you're guaranteeing your own red buff and purple and then to the wave. But with those two stripped away because of the 3-man grouping from Dignitas, it puts Vote in an awkward position. But Rival do a really nice job of adjusting on the fly.
Oh, QvoFred eats a lot more damage than he bargained for there. Didn't use his beads at all. Nice little jump to the monkey from Iceice too. Iceice showing he knows how to play this little Batz.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that he didn't jump after Qvo after the dart got him away with that somersault, but the poke on the Zyrhoes relevant and just focusing on clearing the wave right now. It's pretty hard even this early to find those kills onto something like a Ratatoskr who's got that much damage in his kit that can turn it around fairly quickly.
Well, this experience at the start of the game, though, you can see there's ever so slight. Zyrhoes is behind that of Wlfy at the moment. iceicebaby doing a very good job of invading those Harpies, though, to try and answer back where they lost some at the beginning of the game.
That's a really important invade in the current meta, is not only for junglers, but for solo laners, for mid laners. If you see your jungler on the dual lane side of the map or the enemy jungler, go check those.
Arkkyl going very aggressive there with the Ijutsu, forcing Kalas to use the sprint, as did Trixtank. Both the supports used the sprint and then walked back to lane, so definitely looking to duel this one out at Trixtank and Arkkyl here.
Love the aggressiveness from Dignitas, but great heads-up play by Vote as well to understand that that health bar in the dual lane is shared between two people, and he can use his to body block some autos, making sure that Kalas isn't going to fall.
Trixtank and Kalas both started off with the Guardian's Blessing, and mentioning again, Terra, played by Kalas here, has had the changes go through, so we'll see how much this ultimate makes a difference in this game.
I think it'll make a pretty big difference, but there are going to be situations, as good as this current iteration of the ultimate is, I'm sure there's going to be situations where Terras would rather have the old one. The ability to help out a gank and solo and be at wherever, respawn, pop the ultimate. They're going to miss that.
Do you reckon a couple of teams are going to make a mistake there too, in terms of accidentally popping it, thinking they could help out, going, oh no, wait, it's the wrong one?
I think we'll have a decent fail of the week of someone trying to do that with Terra at some point this week. I assume that teams have been practicing with it, but that's the other thing to keep in mind is that everyone is on the same page that this iteration of Terra is very, very strong. And so it's probably been banned out a lot in a lot of team scrims. I wonder how much practice teams have really gotten with and against this pick when it comes down to actual game time.
Well, Deathwalker versus Variety is a matchup that everybody likes to see, but the one in the solo lane today, Achilles versus Sobek, we touched on it earlier on. It's not going to be a kill lane. It's going to be a farm off more than anything else. We'll see how these two transition into the team fights where they can be very strong.
Now, I know you just did your power rankings yesterday.
I did.
I was tuning in when you were talking about these two, but didn't see where you ended up putting each of them. Who ended up ahead of the other?
I need to check. I'm not gonna lie. I
right.
can't
Fair enough.
remember. It was so many people involved in it that I was like, okay, who did I put at the top of solo lane?
Well, I mean, it was close. These two have been really, really close so far this year. Variety has looked very, very good, and Deathwalker, despite Rival's success, hasn't been the dude for Rival. It's kind of been Vote and Wlfy who have stepped up for that role, and I think a lot of that is meta-dependent. Not as many solo laners making the game-changing impact as they did in Season 4, but also because Rival just hasn't really needed it. I don't think Deathwalker's played poorly by any stretch.
Right-hand side, QvoFred is around the area. Nothing really up for him to take, but he may have looked for a gank on Achilles, not to be. Vote, though, getting ganked. Hammer off the mark from Trix. Sprint popped. Still going aggressive on Vote.
Oh, Vote body block,
Good
stunned
stun.
as well. Arkkyl gonna use those eagle eye shots, and that'll force Vote up into the air, but even the rotation in, Trixtank's the one who's got to run.
Yeah, especially with Callus and iceicebaby coming around, but Qvo turns up with the jump down. Not going to find anything there, though, so it will be dissuaded. Maniac, by the way, is my #1 solo laner. He has had a good split.
Okay.
He's
So,
actually-
well, then who's number 2?
Deathwalker.
All right, so
Followed by
Variety's,
Variety.
Okay.
I think Variety's played a very safe game for the most part. He's been playing a lot of Sobek this season, if you've not noticed, so he's not had to do too much, but I wouldn't say he's been the linchpin of the team as much as he has in the past.
Oh, Zyrhoes actually teleported in
Good
in front of Wlfy. Stun is good.
Goodbye, Zyrhoes. We knew
See
you
ya.
well.
Yeah,
Nice
I mean,
pickup.
Zyrhoes watches Wlfy go into the right side jungle and then portals into the right side jungle. Must have thought he wasn't going aggressive, but that's just a heads up play by Wlfy.
Wlfy's playing very well at the moment for himself and keeping this aggression going. He's #1 in my power rankings, by the way, in Europe.
That's a good call. I can't disagree with you there. He's looked great so far. I think Yaman's really the only one who has a claim to that top spot in Europe in mid lane besides Wlfy, and being second. That's you and I are on the same page.
So
At least for
you're
now.
finally learning to understand. That's good. That's good. I'm finally glad you get in there.
Oh, okay. You wanna get on that train, Graham? Who told you before the split that Vote was the best ADC in Europe right now?
I said he could potentially be just like any of them, but he's got to perform.
And who knew that was gonna happen? That would be me.
Did you predict the whole of Worlds?
I did not.
I did.
That was last year, Graham. We're talking this year.
No,
baby.
it actually happened in 2018, aggro.
Well, did your predictions come through in 2018 or 2017? When was that podcast that I did?
You see, I was
It
confident enough to do it in 17, and it came through into 18. That's how good I am.
But still, the predictions last year.
Variety going to use Lurking in the Waters here, not just for mana, which allows him to sustain more in the lane, but also to clear the wave out a little bit quicker. He may return back to base now. Teleport is available for him, but he probably will hold on to it this wave. He's not really got anything to worry about there.
iceicebaby actually finished his Crusher before the boots. Kind of interesting there because usually rotation is so important in the jungle. You want to be able to be where you need to be
Speed, though.
on the map. Speed buff covers that a little bit. I still think I'd prefer to see him finish off those Warrior Tabi first, but this guarantees that whenever he does eventually get where he wants to go, he's going to be doing a lot of damage.
It's gag time in the duo lane. Trixtank doesn't know this is going on. Going to get hit by the monkey. The monkey actually jumps him towards the wave as Trixtank jumps in there, but it won't be able to need more than that. The good news is, like you said, though, Crusher now means that all his abilities, Humbat's very ability-based assassin in the jungle here, he will apply that little effect of dot damage.
It's really, really potent, man, in the early game. Even with that dot damage being affected by physical power, it has a scaling component in it. It's still really, really solid damage in the early game. And honestly, the attack speed doesn't hurt either. It lets you clear camps considerably faster without having to use quite as much mana.
A lot of time in Season 5, though, we've been discussing the junglers and the fact that they are a very big, important factor. And in this set particularly, you saw all the ban focus. It was all towards junglers. That's why the likes of Janus, the likes of Thoth, Terra, have all managed to get through the pick and ban phase. Well, at least the ban phase, because the focus was on the junglers.
I'm telling you, man, everyone's talking about mages right now and how they're the focal point, but I really feel like it's assassin-based. And because it's assassin-based, that's why mages are so strong, because mages can kill assassins from far away, whereas hunters need a little bit more time, just slightly, and usually that's enough for an assassin to find the kill on their side. But I really feel like junglers and the heavy damage assassins are really dictating picks and bans, the way that teams are playing, all around the meta, all that kind of stuff. They are the focal point for me.
There's a really interesting duo lane here, too. Just look at what's going on here. Hang on. Right-hand side, Variety's in a lot of trouble. They're very low, lurking in the waters. Going to turn it around because QvoFred's turned up.
Nice
Deathwalker
stun.
has no ult, fear no evil, but Beach from Qvo gets him away.
Man, Deathwalker playing so patiently there, waiting to use the one. Probably wanted to use it onto Variety, but maybe knew he was getting ganked or just had serendipitous timing, knowing that QvoFred was coming down. But Great bait by Variety, who also sticks around very low HP, makes Deathwalker think, oh, if I just wait on my Shield of Achilles cooldown, I might be able to find this kill. Well played by both solo laners.
And now these Harpies, oh, nice little steal from Trix. I think he got one of those two,
Yep.
I will say. But Trix in the dual lane, if you notice, they've been doing a lot of freezing Vote out as much as possible in terms of not allowing him to get easy experience. Trix has just been hanging in the jungle, soaking the experience, saying, you walk forward, I'm going to go aggressive. And then because of that, you can see there's a couple of stack advantage now in terms of those Devourers gauntlets. Not by many, but just one or two in terms of Arkkyl having the little bit of a lead.
Yeah, about a full wave actually in Arkyl's favor. And that really comes down to the matchup for me. I mean, Hachiman, so good at clearing the wave early on. Excellent poke against his opposition as well, and safety on top of all of that. That's why he's kind of thought of as, in my mind, he's surpassed Ullr as the top hunter, the top physical hunter right now. And actually, with the nerf to Soul, probably the top hunter right now in the duo lane. Ram is kind of the new wave of teams understanding that late game is where a lot of the magic happens in the current meta, so let's just pick late game hunters. This is Arkkyl saying, okay, you can do that, but you're going to lose the early game pretty hard for it, and that's why I love the way that he's played this lane, because Hachiman's great in the late game. He's still a hunter. He has the really good safety, confirmed damage, the Heavenly Banner. There's a reason that he's top is because his early game and his late game is good, but he's not going to be quite as good as the Ram, so he's got to leverage his advantage while he has it.
We'll see how this works out for the teams. And yeah, mentioning that the patch is live for all these pro players. Obviously, play a little bit further behind normally just to make sure that they get time to ramp up with it. And as you mentioned, Sol wasn't even considered for a pick or ban in this set whatsoever. So maybe Sol is on the downtrend now.
I don't buy it. She's still really, really good, man. I mean, is she as good? Of course not. She got nerfed, and I think it was the right sort of nerf. It was the early pressure that she brought to towers and to gods with that passive. It still maintains that if you want to build her ability power, you're still going to be doing excellent work in the mid lane. I really feel like she still has a home in the competitive scene. We'll still see the Fafnir, Soul, Hunter composition that are really focused on burning down objectives. I just think that teams are going to lay off the gas a little bit, kind of let Soul go on the back burner for a little bit, and then we'll start to see her again. I've got very little doubt about that.
Just that first blood separating these two teams because the levels are relatively even across the way for them. You can see that in experience. 97 at the moment between the two. And the 500 gold, first blood.
That's all it comes down to. That's it's been completely even otherwise so far. Don't expect anything less from these two.
Deathwalker get a bit aggressive though, looking to steal away that buff. Has to ult defensively. But Qvo wants to give chase, especially with Zyrhoes on the way over too. That space and time. Lurking in the waters is Variety, and Deathwalker is in a world of hurt.
Yeah, that's going to do it. Deathwalker's got no chance to survive here. Variety will claim it, but it did buy enough time for iceicebaby to make his rotation over. No blink for him, and no way to catch up to the mobility of Team Dignitas' composition. Deathwalker just a little too far forward there.
Blue for his life is exactly how that ended up working out there. And I bet Callis was screaming to Blue Heaven, "Oh man, I wish I had my ultimate there because I probably could have got you out."
Exactly. No doubt in my mind, the Deathwalker lives there with old Terra ultimate, and that's where the conversation begins in my mind. The new Terra ultimate, insane. It's absolutely preposterous what that'll do for you in team fights. A 20% damage swing because of your 10% mitigation, and the enemy's taking 10% more. But a global ultimate might even be better.
Globals are always going to be the best. Let's put it that way. Iceice still deep in the jungle looking to try and steal things away. Sadly, he dropped his ward and then went over to the back away from the speed, and it just spawned at the same time, unfortunately enough.
What in the world is Iceice getting next? It is not a Heartseeker, not a Jotun's Wrath, nothing else. Maybe he'll finish it off on his back here to clue us in. Of course not.
Where he's heading.
No, he backs there not because he's got enough gold to finish off tier 2 of that item, but because he hit level 12 and wanted access to that blink. I can't imagine that it's Frostbound Hammer. He's got some slows in there already with the somersault, but you're not going to be. You're trying to kill off your Fear No Evil, not slow them down. They should be dead by the time they get out of that fear. So
Blackthorn
could be Blackthorn, but he doesn't really need the mana regen that badly. Maybe Runeforged Hammer because he's doing an extra 15% damage whenever they're feared.
I mean, it's been a while since we've seen that.
Would also work off the slow from the somersault. That's really just trying to burst down. Honestly, that would probably be really good up against Trixtank in particular, just doing 15% extra damage. Also, I don't believe it only counts for your CC. with Runeforged Hammer. So let's say Kalas stuns someone and then iceicebaby hits them. And that's an extra 15% damage potentially. Now I'll be honest with you guys. Normally I'm pretty good on those interactions. We haven't seen Runeforged in a long time. So I'm not 100% on that, but it would make sense just based on the wording of the item.
Well, we'll find out as this one goes on. This will be a long set, I expect, between these two teams. Obviously, back and forth throughout. These are very high skill level, top of Europe alongside Energy. And definitely expect the early game to be very, very close. And then it's going to come down to the team fights around the Gold Fury. And when you talk about team fights, both of them have very big team fight impacts.
They really do. I mean, Fear No Evil for iceicebaby plus Final Judgment. Deathwalker can chain together some executes, and Kalas wants to team fight with that new Terra's Blessing. You want to group up as 4 and 5 and force engagements in your favor, because that's where that new Terra's Blessing is going to come in the most handy. But on the other side, I mean, Dignitas has great dive potential. Zyrhoes' ultimate, Qvo's ultimate, Variety's ultimate, all of those are classified as unpeelable in my mind. You can't save Vode or Wlfy or Ice from any of that damage if Dignitas is going to time it correctly. So
and good mobility from Dig too, to get away from that Callus ultimate if they need to.
Yes, exactly. Zyrhoes can basically just turn around and fire off through space and time as a get out of jail free card should Kalas find a really, really strong ultimate.
Well, we're seeing the Soul Gem coming out from Zyrhoes here momentarily. He's just got a little bit more gold to farm up for himself. Wlfy, meanwhile, going for some penetration. More than likely Spear of Desolation this, by the looks of it, with how early it is.
Wouldn't be surprised if it was a Divine because it's Europe and they love their Divine Ruin. It is going to be a Blackthorn Hammer. Wow, okay. So when over 50% mana, you're getting 10% CDR. When under, you get a butt ton of MP5. You just never run out of mana on this pickup. But if that was really the worry for iceicebaby, isn't Hydra's Lament just better? Because you're getting a mana regen passive,
you don't get as much
plus
health,
10%
though,
CDR,
right?
plus the passive that synergizes beautifully with Hunbats. Yes, you don't get the HP, and that's really the only differentiating factor, but in my mind, between these two items in this exact situation. I just think that, I feel like I'd want iceicebaby to do as much damage as possible, and Blackthorn just doesn't bring that. If he's worried about the mana regen, Hydra's Lament, and the CDR, you want both of those in the same item. Hydra's Lament does that and synergizes beautifully with Hunbat's passive.
Rival is a creative team, though, so they're going to try things out. I think Transcendence is another option that, fits the bill well. We've seen it before. Let's see how it works for Rival, though. Gold Fury pulled by them. Cuba going to take to the sky. This will force a reset. No, it won't. It's still committed to. Gold Fury has reset now, though. The fight mainly focused on Trix, who avoided most of the damage. Ice getting very low as QFO in amongst the team. Callus is the focus, but with the sustain from the ultimate, gets him away from the danger. In goes Trix, and Dig reinitiate.
Vote very, very low. Has to use the Aegis. Crit coming through, and Vote talks back. Arkkyl gonna find the first one, but Deathwalker answers back.
iceicebaby goes down here, so it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Dignitas, who win that trade. Trix de-transforms in an awkward spot. Will get his cooldowns, though, to leap back away. And at the end of the day, that was a very well-played fight from Dignitas. Trix wants to start the gold. Rest of his team are like, no, Trix, don't be too crazy. Come on now.
Wlfy's still here and pretty healthy, even without that Final Judgment. Uncharacteristic reset, though, from Rival as Wlfy plucks back, has the beads, but holds on to him because Variety was just baited in by that pluck.
Variety going to survive, though, be able to tail whip away, especially with that Janus unstable Vortex over the wall there. Rival second-guessed about continuing to dive, so in the end, just a 2-for-1. Nothing more than that. A lot of relics used, however.
Yeah, very, very uncharacteristic reset, though, from Rival. This is a team that I think commits to objectives better than just about any and really trusts Wlfy to be the securer there. And I'm not sure exactly when Wlfy fired off that Final Judgment, but I think it was to try and secure the Gold Fury. Right as it got reset, I mean, Qvo's ultimate coming down is very scary. Zyrhoes has his ult. That's scary stuff to try and secure over. But when it gets down to 5% like that and you're committing that many abilities to it, I think that it might just be the right call to commit or not use the ultimate. There's got to be better communication in that situation. Plus, Kalas uses the ultimate right as Trixtank is transforming, and even though it helps his entire team, it didn't do the offensive component of the new Terra's Blessing ultimate.
Wlfy still has his ultimate, but Trixtank spotted him out and will throw the hammer out. Quvo takes straight to the sky, makes a time hit Wlfy there, and he's going to get jumped on too, but the Aegis came through at the right time, followed by the Fear No Evil. It's the Rat that's in trouble. The snipes from Vote just off the mark with the third and the second. Quvo will survive. Dignitas still trying to pressure mid.
Man, what a play from iceicebaby, though, to save Wlfy there. That Fear No Evil perfectly timed. Just a little bit of inaccuracy costs Rival that kill.
Crazy little engagement there once again, and talking a little bit more about Wlfy, like, he was around the Gold Fury pit, but went for the Spirit of Desolation. I think the reason for that is we didn't mention Shoes of Focus.
Yes.
Went for the cooldown boost. So he's got 30% CDR in this build already.
Plenty. So he'll be able to fire off those final judgments very easily, but won't be in range to fire off one to steal away this Gold Fury. Dignitas, despite not getting the kill onto Wlfy and almost losing QvoFred, did enough to disrupt Rival and made space for the Gold Fury, but Rival, in response, heading towards the Pyro.
Yeah, they're on the Pyro very quickly now, but Janus is there, as is Rat, looking to steal it away, but Wlfy will secure that with his ultimate. Ice has to leap away as Trix gets hit by the wall and de-transforms. They get the baby version. You can see by the graph jump down in terms of gold. It's not a mass, it's as good as a Gold Fury.
It's about half of a Gold Fury. It goes up, then comes about halfway back down to where it was before that Gold Fury secure. So Rival at least gets something. And look, let's be real, 20 minutes in, this sort of experience and gold lead barely even qualifies itself as a lead. Having a 1 level in a couple of different roles, Dignitas has that slight advantage in solo and jungle, even in mid and ADC. But outside of that, I mean, the itemization, very, very close. This gold lead, all it really amounts to is that Dignitas should have slightly better ward vision.
You can see the builds coming through from the solo laners too, just focused around what they're going to have to deal with in these team fights. Spectral armor picked up by Deathwalker there.
In response to the crit build from Arkkyl, who actually went for Rage, 3rd item. So Rage actually receiving a buff recently now gives you more at the front end. You're getting the same amount overall, but you get more crit strike at the beginning of finishing off this item. I mean, 30% plus he's got 2 stacks on it, so that's 34% crit chance, which is a crazy amount for 1 item, by the way. And now he goes into the Executioner. So not going to get the Deathbringer quite yet. He needs the penetration because of the build from Deathwalker is so physical damage focused. Kalas has that sovereignty as well. So I like this decision because he needs pen right now. But next item probably should be something like a Deathbringer, like a Poison Star or Wind Demon, something else to amplify that crit, because I don't think Rage by itself is going to be worth an item purchase, because I believe it only gives you 20 power. So it's not a whole lot of physical power. It's just in the name of making sure that whenever you do get the payoff from the crit later on in your build, it's going to be happening as consistently as possible.
And no Thorns this game from either team either. So maybe these Hunters will get to that game-winning hyper carry state you can get to with a crit build. Arkkyl should be in good shape for that. We'll see if we get an Nemean line out from anyone, but Nemean line on his own doesn't really do enough, I feel, to, you know, sustain through all the crits.
Right, and no crit quite yet for Vote, which is kind of surprising because he's been a big proponent of crit for a while
On
now.
a Rama too.
Yeah, I really liked even going in Season 4 for that crit build. Now could go transition into it, but Chin Size plus crit don't really agree with each other particularly well. Chin Size passive is affected by penetration, so whenever you build it, you really want to get as much pen in the build as possible. Pen power usually transitions well with Chin Size, whereas crit really wants that attack speed.
Transcendence for iceicebaby next by the looks of this, as well as this Blackthorn Hammer.
Yeah.
So this kind of screams to me that he's after the cooldown reduction the whole time, because he's never going to run out of mana.
No, he's really not, ever, with this sort of build. After he finishes off that Transcendence, there is 0 chance he even falls below that 50% threshold. So it basically does come down to he just wanted Blackthorn Hammer for the health and the CDR and the power. But again, I think that Hydra's Lament is an underutilized item right now that is very difficult to leverage in most situations for most characters. But Hunbatz is the one that guarantees his auto attack follow-ups better than just about anybody because of the ult. Because if you can catch someone without beads, Hydra's Lament guarantees their death. And in this build, they're probably dead anyways with how much power he has from the Transcendence. And remember, you do get mana from Blackthorn Hammer, and Transcendence gives you power based off of your mana. So that helps out there. So it's actually more power than it looks like coming from Blackthorn Hammer with this build.
Well, iceicebaby going for definitely a cooldown damage focus build here. Whereas QvoFred got some damage in there, obviously, but survivability too. Going for that Magi's Cloak, make sure you can try and avoid one of the many CCs that Rival bring to the table.
And who can blame him? Magi's Cloak right now just kind of being bought in every single role, it feels like, because of how efficient it is. I mean, it's 2,050 gold for 350 health, a couple of protections for both magical and physical, and then the bubble, which prevents you from getting CC'd every 60 seconds. Look, this item's insane. It's just so cheap for so much effective HP.
Low player damage from all these players so far. 8,000, the highest in 23 minutes in, shows how difficult this one's going to be. But everyone's starting to reach full build. The next couple of team fights will be insurmountable if they go in one direction over the other. One team wins big. Fire Giant's definitely on the cards. Gold Fury's about to come back up. This is going to be a telling time in this first game of this best of 3.
And this is kind of by design that both teams want to play this way. I think that we see games like that occasionally, especially in Season 5, because teams aren't really sure how to grab a lead and then push it correctly. In this game, it really feels deliberate from both Dignitas and Rival. This is just confidence in their team that whenever it does come time for a late game team fight, both teams are saying in comms, well, we'll just win that team fight and we'll be totally fine and we'll win the game off of just one engagement. Both teams have been known to play this style at times and can really make it work.
Other than the goal fury that Dignitas managed to pick up for themselves and that additional kill, they have taken down 2 towers, however, one on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, so Dignitas very much focused on the objectives. An important thing for Dig to do. Rival just been caught napping a little bit in some of their decision-making. At the moment, they're around the goal fury. Not going to pull it just yet. It's more about ward coverage, maybe trying to find a pick. Deathwalker over here too kind of gives you an idea that that's what Rival want.
And as I mentioned, this gold lead isn't huge, but it means that Dignitas has better ward vision overall on the map, which certainly holds true because they also have they have vision on that fire giant if Rival wanted to try and trade out objectives.
Trixtank just giving vision, space and time fires and hits Deathwalker as Zyrhoes comes through looking for the unstable vortex. Was a nice little damage check there to see how much they were doing against Deathwalker, but now that ultimate has been used, Rival can just sit back for a second and go, okay, we don't have to worry about Janus coming out of nowhere with the whole team.
But Zyrhoes has some pretty decent CDR in that build, so it's not going to take too long for Through Space and Time to come back up. In fact, he's maxed on CDR plus the Chronos Pendant passive, so he's got plenty waiting, and that Through Space and Time will be up sooner rather than later.
Variety and Trix in the front line, just looking to try and find a target, but Callus won't go anywhere thanks to his passive, making sure that when the walls are down, he is knock-up immune. And now that plucks down its Rival, they're going to start to commit. Wlfy has his ultimate available. Watch out for the secure with it. He's channeling through, almost secure the Gold Fury.
But that also was Fear No Evil. Trixtank maybe dead right away, though. Vote able to grab that one. Qvo forced to dash away. That Fear No Evil just waiting for Fafnir upon the transformation is one thing that I didn't get a chance to bring up, but I think why Rival prioritized this Hunbat so early on, it's so good against Fafnir because he's got no way to jump out of that, and he's going to be feared the entire duration. That's a max rank Fear No Evil as well. He never even got a chance to get his leap off.
With that, Rival's just even things up. Variety went in for the pluck there, couldn't find iceicebaby. Rival want to continue this and look for the Pyromancer. On zone duty is Deathwalker, Callus, and iceicebaby. Vote and Wlfy will bring this down momentarily on their own. Deathwalker going to get plucked, however, but he's tanky enough to weather this storm. But Iceice comes round the back.
These walls just zoning away everyone from Dignitas. Through Space and Time actually gives them some portals around the back. Wlfy in a little bit of trouble, has to use the beads in response to Variety's pluck.
Variety did good work there, but has to get away. Looks towards Vote now. He's surrounded and left on his own. He went to the sky, and now he might be heading back to base quicker than he wants to. Aegis is down. Variety gets the kill on Vote. Meanwhile, Arkkyl is swinging at Wlfy, who's now all relics on cooldown.
Oh, can't even get the final judgment off, and Arkkyl used the Aegis just in case. I love what Arkkyl does in that team fight because Vote gets caught out, wrong spot for him without a doubt, just way too isolated. So he uses the beads, rolls away right as the portal falls so Dignitas can't use it to reposition. So then Vote is trying to wait out his Aegis and use it to time out Varieties lurking in the water. So instead, Arkkyl uses mounted archery to force Vote to either A, use the Aegis and die to lurking in the water, which he does, or B, hold the Aegis, die to mounted archery, and never even use it. So I love that play. Arkkyl forces Vote to die to Variety's ultimate.
Fire Giant is being looked at now. Not really, because Dignitas is trying to bait and Rival for another fight. It's Iceice who's in trouble, surrounded by the whole team. Gets his Fear No Evil off, but too little too late. Callus will not clap the walls, trying to use it, but now Zyrhoes around the back means Callus is on his own.
Kalat's going to be able to break some monoliths, break some rocks, but it's not going to matter. He's slowed and brought down by Zyrhoes, who used Through Space and Time again.
What a swing.
With that CDR, Zyrhoes making a huge impact on this Janus right now. Just incredible.
Just look how close these teams are, though. Rival won the Gold Fury fight, took the Gold Fury. Now they may lose the 5 unless Vote can find the snipes, but he's up too early. And he's going to have to come back down, giving Dignitas the free Fire Giant. And now Wlfy's in trouble. He's dead.
Man, the dive comp, we talked about it earlier on. So much mobility from Dignitas. Even for a Thoth, nowhere is really safe between Variety, who, how are you going to stop a Sobek from solo lane walking at you all the time, to QvoFred able to dart in. He's got plenty of health and protection from that Masamune and Magai's Blessing combo. It's really, really strong.
Phoenix is already at half health. Trix happy to tank this up. No one from Rival able to contest. They're still missing Wlfy. Have to surrender that one. And Dignitas now have almost broken this game up wide open in favor of themselves.
Yeah, and for me, it really comes down to how Variety is played on this Sobek. There's nothing flashy about the scoreline. 2 kills, 0 deaths.
Did he jump,
had a
though?
pretty good, a bunch of assists, but how many engagements have started off or been continued because Dignitas' solo finds the pluck? Almost every one.
For the tier 2 here with Dignitas, but they don't have the Sobek here just yet. Ice Ice is looking at wrapping around the back, changed his mind, however. Wlfy's still dead for a few more seconds, so makes sense not to try and engage there. If they went for the Phoenix there, I think we'll see Rival put up a very good defense.
With everyone up, every ultimate available except for Votes, but doesn't really need it that much and could probably have it up on the chase potential. So Dignitas, they've got so much gold from that last engagement and haven't backed. They're just getting towers in mid lane, clearing those out so that they don't have to waste more time with the Fire Giant buff whenever they do back and buy, and then be able to actually push towards some Phoenixes. But I wouldn't mind seeing, say, Variety push up the mid wave and let the rest of Dignitas push that left-hand tier 2. Make sure your waves are pushing at the same time, and then use someone like QvoFred to push mid Phoenix as the rest of Dignitas push left Phoenix. That seems to be the best way to siege right now, is if you're just slamming 5-on-5 on one Phoenix, it's so easy for defenders to just stall you out and wait out your buff on the Fire Giant. But if you could put pressure simultaneously in 2 lanes, it increases your odds of success by a ton.
And especially when you factor in what Rival's composition is about. Their siege defense is amazing. One of the places where Terra may really shine in big AoE team fights around the Phoenix. Defense or offense either.
Yep.
So find out if Rival can get themselves back into this. At the moment, Dignitas going to strip away all the towers as expected. QvoFred's the one in the mid lane at the moment, has that semi-global to get across here if required, but it's all up to how well Rival defend on this engagement from Dig.
But look at how far the wave is pushed on the right-hand side as well. Dignitas is going to be able to put pressure on the Titan with that Fire Minion wave. Rival didn't have enough time to clear it out.
Variety going to dash in, but can't find the plug. Ice Ice still hanging around, no fear, no evil just yet. Just an overhand slam, forces back Dignitas. Wlfy uses his ult there, half health's Arkkyl, but with the Fire Giant round his waist and the Devour's Gauntlets, he can just sustain off these minions, and that's why you see Dig not clearing the wave out, letting their Arkkyl farm back up.
Love it, and QvoFred continues to just sit in mid. He's just playing patiently right now, waiting for the opportunity to use his ultimate to make it a 5-on-4. Rival's got to make a choice if they want to let Qvo push or have the outnumbered potential be in Dig's favor.
Trix and Variety doing a good job on the front line. Khaled's going to get plugged in and crit nastily for 230 yard plus. But Trix on the backside gets all in thanks to the Fear No Evil out from Ice Ice. Phoenix is still standing, but he's getting very low. 2 members already dead from Rival now as they lose their Phoenix, but they may win the fight.
Oh, Arkkyl again stunned out, but has the horse. Vote up into the sky, doesn't have the range to find the final shots onto anybody there. Did get the Phoenix, but good engagement by Rival overall. Trixtank just a little bit too deep, and again, this Sunbat's ultimate is kind of being reserved right now for Fafnir transformation every time.
It's the only place he can get it, though. I think that's the problem. The only place he can get this Fear No Evil off is onto Trix, because he's been so frontline aggressive. The rest of Dig is so far back, it's hard to get in there and try and force some of the actives.
I wouldn't mind seeing Ice kind of use it for Variety's initiation either. He's got to make sure that he's not the one who gets plucked, but if you just let Kalas get plucked, then immediately drop the Fear No Evil right behind the Sobek before he has time to get into the ultimate. Like I said, I feel like Variety's kind of been the determining factor so far for Dignitas, along with Zyrhoes in a lot of these fights. So why not try and disrupt that? Trixtank's kind of, just allowing himself to get killed because of the investment from Rival is so heavy that it's usually only him who falls.
And if he keeps building up the items, as good supports will, he'll be able to eat the whole of it if need be at certain points, especially with some nice time abilities. God Fury went the way of Rival there, but the Pyromancer will go to Dignitas just to try and even things up again. That last Fire Giant did a lot of work in favor of Dignitas, with the next one due to spawn in the next 20 seconds. Rival have got their right-hand Phoenix back up, however.
But that left side one is the one they got to worry about. That's why left side Phoenix pushes are usually the most important, because as soon as the Fire Giant respawns, now Rival has a choice. Who goes to defend, if anybody, and who's going to stick around and try and defend Fire Giant? Looks like Rival may just be interested in giving this one up, because without Wlfy in range, I don't think there's a way that they have seal potential over Dignitas.
It looked like Wlfy was really focused on getting a bit more farm, I guess, as well as clearing it out, because he finishes Ethereal Staff now. I thought maybe a gem, but Ethereal makes a lot of sense playing something like Thoth.
And it's good because it kind of makes up for his lack of penetration overall in the build. I mean, look, Deso plus Obsidian Shard is good enough penetration against most characters, but Sobek is so damn tanky, man. And you really want as much of that health coming off as possible. He's also got a lot of health in the build, with that winged blade. So I feel like this ethereal staff is a strong pickup as long as Wlfy's hitting the tanks, which is basically who he needs to be hitting right now.
Well, the Crocodile and the Dwarf have been on the front line all game for Dignitas, leaving the robot and I don't know what to call that one. The Japanese man, I guess, is the best.
Samurai?
The samurai. I couldn't think of the word. I don't know why it blanked. On the back line, pretty safe, but that monkey toss will force Dig back for a second. Just a little bit worried about the engage that could come through. QvoFred still hanging around mid, trying to keep Thoth interested at defending that, but it's all about this right-hand Phoenix.
Qvo has lost his Magi's Cloak, so keep an eye on that. Won't have it available for 50-some seconds, so that's pretty big. He does still have Purification Beads. That's the strength of picking up a Cloak in a situation like this, is you can get that bubble popped and still have the safety that you're used to.
Just looking for a little bit of poke damage here and there. Qvo still continue to be in this mid lane. It's more, when is the go time? Are we waiting on relics? That's what I'm looking at. No, all the relics are available here. They did just burn the Magi's Cloak out of boat, though. That could be a sign.
They're waiting on that left side wave to keep pushing into that Titan room.
Callis takes a couple of crits and Deathwalker front lines for a second or two. Quick in, quick out from Dignitas one more time. Wlfy's still there, but that, like you said, that minion wave on the left-hand side is now all the way in. This could be go time on the right.
And that's because Wlfy has to go to the left, check out where he is on the minimap. Now heading back towards the right, just letting his Titan get beat up by that fire minion wave.
Phoenix still alive, however, Fear No Evil dropped by Ice on towards Trixtank. Deathwalker gets the killers, Wlfy being focused down by Qvo. Wlfy was trying to get involved, but he gets soloed down. Both his relics used. The rat was just too much.
Oh, Ice plucked back as well. Big crits from Arkkyl as well. EI Jutsu will get him in there to finish it off.
And with that, the pressure is on again from Dig. Left Phoenix does respawn, but Dignitas with the man advantage and the fire giant still around their waist start to work on mid.
Mid Phoenix, the only one that's still healthy enough, but won't be for long. Mid Phoenix falls. This should be left Phoenix as well. Kind of surprised that Dig doesn't try and go for the end, but didn't have minions right away. I feel like if that was a minion wave, a fire minion wave pushing up from left at that exact moment, that's an end potential. QvoFred just wins this engagement single-handedly, brings down Wlfy, identifies that his dash is down, and then punishes him for it. Wlfy didn't get to do any damage in that team fight to anybody.
All three Phoenixes now down, and Variety will escape with his life. Dignitas will head back to base here, spend up any remaining gold they need, but everyone pretty much full build here at the moment. This has been definitely a calculated game between the two. This is definitely one of those games that you could watch back a couple of times and find interesting points about both.
If there was a game for people to watch to understand why pro teams are so much better than your average, Masters ranked players, this is it. The strategy involved, the way that everyone is working very, very well in unison, and how you can use what another team wants to do against them, because Rival continually is using their biggest team fight ultimate in Fear No Evil to kill Trixtank, and it's working, and Dignitas just doesn't care. They're totally cool with that. Number one, it's because Trixtank's dying, and they get to make fun of him for it later on.
That's true.
But number two, because the rest of Dig is free to engage however they please. Qvo is so focused on setting up for Vote and bringing down Trixtank that Wlfy got hit for 8-9 straight seconds without anyone from Rival even coming close enough to help him.
It's also kept Callis in the back foot on this Terra too, because he's having to put his wall down or his monolith down to make sure he's not getting plucked and thrown around by the Sobek all the time. So keeping Terra on the back foot makes it very difficult for Rival to look to engage. They have to allow Dig in and then try and turn it round.
Arkyl's crits of this game as well, but really, really impactful. I love this build from him before I check in and see that he actually did go chin sides, and I love this build a little bit less. Look, Rage is a really good item, and it's making him do a lot of damage. Just prefer a second crit item over the chin size, I feel like. A Wind Demon, if he wants the attack speed, would fill in for that slot nicely,
but then you
and synergize better.
More, you're relying on more crit.
Yeah, but he's already got so much from the evolved Rage that it's not that big of a deal.
I think it's just
you've got over 50.
Like
you would have over 50% crit.
Sure.
From Rage and Wind Demon. So your odds are really, really good that if you fire off 3 autos, you're critting in at least one of those, and that's usual. If you're guaranteeing 1 in 3, then you're usually good.
Listen, Arkkyl's a gambler. What can I say? Like, he likes to go with the risky opportunity, and it's working out for him.
He should go to the Fire Giant Casino. You can see the door. He's right next to it right now.
Let's find out. I never noticed that door until you guys started bringing it up.
Neither did I. I saw it. I was like,
never saw that door before.
Honestly, who do you think lives there? Like, the meme is that's where the gambler lives, but I actually want to know if there's a little lore keeper of the Fire Giant. I'm very interested.
I think DM pops out of it when people mess up. That's what happens.
Well, then why isn't he there? Hey!
Exactly. Hi!
Chins and crit?
That's what he's open. DM just opens the door and goes, "Hi, what are you doing?" What's that about? What's his build? Why do you get knocked up? Like, that's kind of what I expect. It might not be DM, a version of DM.
He definitely fit in the doors.
He would. Wow. Look at you. You're going to get blown up on Twitter for that.
Oh, I know. I knew it, but I thought it was funny enough. I couldn't let it go, man. Come on.
Ryan Phoenix is about to come up momentarily. Dignitas just waiting for minions to pour through. Now, they have done great work in this game. Take into account this game flipped on its head when Rival got 2 kills and the Gold Fury and went for the Pyromancer, and Dig went, well, if you're going to do that, we're going to fight one more time. Actually, no, it was 1 kill, not 2.
Yeah, and it was just about Zyrhoes splitting the team fight perfectly with his through space and time, and Vote's positioning being left a little bit to be desired. We'll put it that way.
Definitely out of position there. Trix in the front line. Been out of position all game, but purposefully out of position has been the call there.
Okay.
Soul Reaver comes through.
Soul Reaver, Ethereal Staff, Soul Gem. That is the I'm going to do as much damage as humanly possible with 1 hit.
Middle Phoenix is coming up right now and will be immediately down. Left one due to come up any second. It'll start flashing momentarily as the minion wave pours through. Rival just can't seem to get back into this one now.
So hard whenever all 3 Phoenixes are down. Fire minion wave so tanky here in Season 5.
Just a long wait. That's all that's happening now. Rival kind of know they're really up against it. But one mistake in the Titan room could cause a couple of opportunities for them to get back into this. I don't know, Aggro. This
Rival has beaten Dignitas with 3 Phoenixes down before.
All right. Well, let's see if they can do it one more time. You notice how the steroid from Trix is actually being used there on Janus too for the extra burst damage from the Soul Gem. And oh, he missed. He missed the unstable. He'll hit the space and time and hit 3 members. Qvo in the sky with diamonds, looking to come down on 3 members of Rival. Titan being looked at momentarily. Maybe the fight is more focused on, but it's Arkkyl hitting the Titan all the time.
Yeah,
Dignitas take game 1.
Look, that was a good fight from Rival. It really wasn't a bad engagement. They were doing damage to the right targets. It's just one of those situations where your margin for error is so small once you lose all 3 Phoenixes that you have to wipe both damage dealers and force out the tanks and clear 3 waves worth of fire minions, and that's just nearly impossible to do. It was a good attempt, but Dignitas had already put them up against the wall.
A really interesting set between the two, at least game 1. Who do you think was MVP in that game? Obviously, it's going to be a Dig member.
Could be. I mean, just about everyone I think is on the table. I still think Variety is making such a big impact on the Sobek, but Zyrhoes would also be very, very worthy of an MVP.
Well, let's get it over to the desk where Tom and Tolly will break it down.
Thanks a lot, boys. Fun game this afternoon. Dignitas do find the win there against Team Rival, and a short one as far as the kills are concerned. 16 kills, but 40 minutes of gameplay.
That's right, 10-6. It was just a big slobber knocker between these two, and all it took was that one team fight around the mid-20 minute mark where Janus, Zyrhoes allowed the rest of Dignitas to really be aggressive. The short cooldowns that he had with the full CDR build was just insane. He was just throwing those unstable vortexes very loosely, allowing his team to just chase Rival down.
Letting Zyrhoes kind of be the guy, I think, is important for Team Dignitas because they're going to play through their jungler no matter what, right? QvoFred is such a powerful player, and I referenced before how these guys are individually strong. But when Zyrhoes is able to help be sort of the spotlight character and facilitate QvoFred into allowing all of that things, everything sort of is allowed to happen when your mid laner's working on all fours.
And that was important for him to still be in that confidence and mindset despite getting first blooded there by Wlfy's Thoth. They're taking advantage of that early encounter, but he will be your MVP, Zyrhoes.
Yeah, even despite that early first blood like you were talking. 3 kills, 1 death, and then 5 assists here in a very low kill count game for Zyrhoes.
He was just all over the place, and I think it was honestly the mobility that Dignitas had between this Janus and QvoFred's Ratatoskr alongside the control from solo lane Variety. Playing the Sobek, just more control than Deathwalker's Achilles.
And you referenced it earlier. I love the full CDR build on the Janus. He's a character that can really bring the pain by way of offense, but also utility. Having those portals, allowing QvoFred to weave in and out of the team fights, really important stuff.